And today we'll be addressing one of the biggest issues Tacoma owners have with their trucks, which is seat comfort. What about crappy miles per gallon? In addition to the crappy miles per gallon, seat comfort is one of the biggest issues Tacoma owners have. What about rusted frames? In addition to crappy miles per gallon and rusted frames, seat comfort is one of the largest issues Tacoma owners have with their trucks. What about actively hunting transmissions? In addition to crappy miles per gallon, rusted frames, and weird hunting transmissions, seat comfort is the biggest issue Tacoma owners have with their trucks. Welcome back to the Tacomaholic channel, everybody. If this is your first time stopping by and you want to feed that Tacoma addiction and follow everything Tacoma related, go ahead and subscribe now. And today, my Tacoma gets jacked with seat jackers. All right, guys, here is the product in question for today's install. These are called seat jackers. You can grab these from DesertDoesIt.com. I will put a link in the description, of course. When you place an order, you do get one pair. I think you do get a slight discount if you get a pair for the passenger and front driver's seat. These are made out of 70-75 aluminum. You do get the hardware, of course. Now, during the install, and you also get install instructions, of course, you do reuse some of the bolts that come with the front of the seat brackets, so I'll show you that in just a minute. These front two holes here are for a future product by the same company, which is, I believe, an accessory board, which kind of looks like a mini Molly panel that you can put flashlights or anything like that. And you guys know me, I'll probably have a video for that as soon as it's released. These are very well made. They do come powder coated. Like I said, they are aluminum. Lightweight, but definitely solid. I weighed these on my little scale and they come in at 7.5 ounces each, so just about half a pound, nice and stout. Solid, gonna hold your seat so it's not sliding anywhere, which of course would defeat the purpose of making it comfortable if you're just gonna die in a car accident. Now, when you install these, they do orient this way. If this is the front of the seat, looking at it from the side, and this is the back, you see it's got this pin to hold it in place using the same hardware and the provided hardware. And I forgot to measure this. I believe this will raise the front of the seat 1.25 inches, helping to give a little extra support for the front of your legs behind your knees, which in turn should give you a little more lower back support by relieving some of that pressure, making those long drives in your Tacoma a little more comfortable. I know for me personally, the longest drive I've had in my truck has been about 11 hours from Northern Virginia down to Atlanta for the takeover, and my lower back was killing me, and I am not a tall guy by any means. 5'7", rounding up generously.
I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
Can't wait to see what these feel like once I get them installed. And when you order, you do get free shipping, I believe, within the continental United States. And all you need to do this install is a socket wrench with a 14 and 15 millimeter socket. And of course, a torque wrench if you really want to torque these down to spec, which is 27 foot-pounds. Otherwise, a few ugga-duggas and it should be good. And step one for the install is to go ahead and remove the 14 millimeter bolts holding the front of the seat brackets in place. You will be reusing these later on in step 5 of the instructions, so do not lose them. Step 2, you need to loosen but do not remove the 2 bolts holding the rear seat brackets in place. Now, I am running the 1-inch spacers back here, but that doesn't matter. You just need to loosen this up so it's easier to align the front. Again, loosen, do not remove. Next step, you do need to push back on the seat, either on the headrest, but I found just lifting it from the bottom, the base right here, is easy enough. I do already have the right side installed, so that's why there's a gap right here, but you tilt that back so you can slide the new bracket into place. On the bottom, it does have this pin. When you look under the factory bracket, there's another pin that goes in the same hole. So the new pin will go in the hole on the bottom of the floor of your truck, and the pin on the bottom of the factory bracket will go into the slot right here. And when you have the clearance, go ahead and get the new brackets into place. And just make sure the hole lines up so you can thread in the new hardware. Next up, we are going to be taking that factory 14 millimeter bolt, and you will have to lift this up from the bracket to expose it, and you'll slip it in the bottom. This will connect the new bracket to the floor of the truck. So go ahead and tighten that down. Now, the socket set I brought with me to do the video, I'm in the middle of a parking lot somewhere. This part was actually too thick to actually be able to get in there and tighten this down, so I did just hand tighten this. I'm going to get back to my house. I'm going to drive carefully, so hopefully I don't die on the way. Get a smaller socket to tighten this down firmly, but it is hand tight right now. Next up, you will take the new supplied hardware and tighten that in from the factory bracket to the seat jacker bracket. And you might need to tilt the seat back just a little to get this started, and these are just hand tight anyway. So once you get that started on either side, it will snug down nicely. And the final step of the install is to go ahead and get everything torqued down, or if you don't have a torque wrench, just get it good and tight. You got to do the top bolts holding the factory bracket to the new bracket for both sides of the front, and the bolt holding the new bracket to the floorboard. Don't forget these under here. And of course the 2 bolts we loosened up in the rear of the seat. 27 foot-pounds for all 6. Okay guys, got everything installed, and I did a quick test fit just here in the parking lot. Haven't driven anywhere yet. And remember, I am running the new seat jacker spacers up front, which are 1.25 inches, I believe. And for the time being, I am still running the 1-inch spacers in the rear just because they were already installed. I want to see what it feels like, but even just sitting in the parking lot, it already feels amazing to me. I feel like I have a lot of support. If my knees are hanging over right here, and this is the position I have my seat when I'm driving around, I can instantly feel the support from right here where the back of your knee connects, probably at least halfway up my thigh bone, my femur. It just feels a lot more solid, and even the driving position's great. Again, I'm not a tall guy by any means, so just having that extra height, which I initially did with the rear seat spacers, having that extra inch in the front even makes the view and just the driving comfort that much better. So can't wait to see what you guys think about this. Now, before I actually post this video, I'm going to drive around for a few days with this setup. Again, 1.25 inch new brackets up front, the old 1-inch brackets at the back. I'm going to drive around a few days like that, see how it is. Then I'm going to remove the rear spacer and see how it is just with the 1.25 inch up front, and see if I can tell a difference. Obviously, I'm used to driving around with just the 1-inch spacers in the back. And again, if you haven't seen that video on the rear spacers, check that out, linked right above. And I will report back with all of my findings in a few days.
1 eternity later.
Alright guys, it is literally about 1 week later. I have tried all scenarios and situations with the seat riser combo. So before, I just had the 1-inch seat risers in the back. I rode around like that. God, it's been at least 6 months now, and that was fine. Just recently added the 1.25-inch seat spacers for the front, and I rode that with those in addition to the 1-inch in the back. And then I did that for a few days, and then I removed the 1-inch in the back and ran around just with the front. And while for me all 3 setups felt perfectly fine and great and way better than the stock formation, for my body type, and again I'm 5'7" and I'm about 50-50 split like torso and legs, I can honestly say I am a huge fan of running both sets of spacers. So the 1.25 inch in the front with the new ones and the 1-inch in the back, for a few reasons. The first of which is being just sitting in the truck right here. Hop in real quick. And I know you can't really tell, from the camera, but again, I'm 5'7", 50-50 split torso and legs. Just the view, first of all, is much more commanding. I can easily see the front of my hoop down there for my bumper, so for off-roading or whatever, and just driving around in general, it just feels like a much more natural position for someone of my body size. And if you can see from the top, I still have plenty of headroom. I'd guess, I don't know, 5 inches or so. If you're a shorter guy who has a longer torso, or just a taller guy in general, maybe having the rear 1-inch seat spacers is not going to be a good option for you, just for the fact that you might run out of headroom. You can see I'm perfectly fine. Even though if you close the door, getting out, you still have to watch right here. But that's going to be what it is. Nothing really you can do about that. Definitely worth it, in my opinion, to have the commanding view first of all, but then just the comfort. And you can see still plenty of leg room. I don't have super long legs, so no issue down here with hitting anything. And I did just take this on a mini test drive. I went down to Arrington, Virginia this past weekend for the Overland East experience, which was fantastic. Check that video out above if you have not already. So that was about a 2.5 hour drive down there and another 2.5 back. And I did that with the front and rear seat spacers installed. And I definitely felt more refreshed when I got there. Not the longest drive to do a test on, but still I could tell over just having the rear seat spacers in, which I was running around with before for all my longer trips. Very pleased with the way I felt, and I'm pretty sure if you guys go with this product, you will be pleased as well. Just be aware if you're either a taller guy in general, or if you have a longer torso or longer legs, you might just have to play with the front and rear seat spacers to see which one you like. Both of them running at the same time might not be for you. And remember, in addition to making these wicked front seat spacers, the company DesertDoesIt is coming out with a bracket that goes in between them. I can't wait to get my hands on that. That should be released pretty soon. You guys know I'll have a video for that as soon as I get it in hand, so stay tuned for that. And that will pretty much do it for this review of the front 1.25 inch seat riser install and review video. I'm very pleased with the outcome. I love the way the seat feels now, and I encourage you guys to check out this mod, do it yourself. Comment below if you do, and let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for supporting the channel by watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video.